our culture, our spirituality, our history. One Africa for Africans worldwide. Motherlands calling its diaspora home. Join my voice. Join my team. Join my campaign. Campaign 21 hashtag 1 million subscribers on the Pan African Daily TV YouTube. Be a volunteer. Apply now. Be the new Africa. So, good evening, good morning, good night, good afternoon to all of you, dear Pan-African Hotep family, wherever you're connecting or wherever you're watching from. We are here tonight or this afternoon, wherever you are, where the Queen is connected. I think it's 11 a.m. in the morning. So we want to welcome all of you that would be joining this show tonight. Let me I know that we have been disrupted in one way or the other. We since Sunday, we've been disconnected. We have been interrupted with technique and stuff like that. I really cannot explain what happened with the first edition of our Africa Temple that we actually had worked upon with King Maponga Joshua and the gospel pair or a band from Jamaica with our elder, Dr. Luis, and the wife. And, so it was so strange that not only the communication was not in order, even though we had confirmed everything, but then the accessibility became a problem. And we rescheduled, and nothing worked. So it has been really, really strange, these happenings on the Pan-African Daily TV, particularly when some guests like King Maponga Joshua, or we saw last time when Kojo Bentil was here. So anything that is in this aspect that has to do with our spirituality, it's really under attack. And we begin to see these models and these symbols and sound, and they're actually getting more deep and deep. And so we are thinking that our spirituality, probably that is where our weakness is. It means when I say our weakness, that's our challenge. We have blamed every other thing, be it the political structures, to the leadership, to the westernization, to the colonial agendas, to every other thing that we can think about, to even the movement, from the enslaved, from our ancestors, or what kind of business they did, whether it was war or whatever we call it. But because of this recent happenings, we have been going on a kind of a consultation, research, meditation, and try to connect the dots. And we begin to see clearly that our biggest challenge might be on our spirituality. What is this actually supposed to mean when I say our spirituality? Our spirituality is not about a religion. Because, there's some of these words now, when we use it, except probably we'll have to start talking about it in the Bantu language or in the Swahili language to understand the meaning of what it would mean. Because when we just say spirituality, or just like even when I posted and I said, oh, we're going to have our first African temple church worship. And a lot of people are like, oh, wait a minute. Hey, Dr. Susan, are you going to church? And I thought that we are on the same level. We are on our African traditional. No, spirituality simply means our way of life. And our way of life is a stake. So when we go even back, and exactly that was the point we had to talk about on Sunday. What does the Bible mean? We walked away from the ways of God and choose the way of others. It means we just walked away from our traditions, from our belief system, from who we are, and begin to believe in the white man's God and theory and everything that they've done. And we wonder why we are suffering. We wonder why things don't work. We wonder why our continent is always in crisis, because we just walked away and chose leadership models, governance, any kind of system that doesn't fit and is not adaptable to the African. So I'm so happy to have with me here our queen from the Gabons, from the kingdoms of the Fan people. And she was here not the first time, and you all are already beginning to pay attention to her. Because after her last show or conversation with us, I mean, the feedbacks that we had from the community, right, was so huge. And even up to today, we're still getting that feedback. And I told you, or we said it last time, that maybe, just maybe, the questions that we've been asking, questioning our ancestors about the role of the women, the role of the queens, and that we need a queen that goes out of the heart for her people, that every other thing would not matter, but to work particularly to take the queens back. Why? Because we've been saying we are so masculine in the way we are in our conversations. It's been more. We take statistics of Pan-African Daily TV guests. We can say 70-80% have always been the men. Our kings have been coming and talking and boiling. But the queens, where are they? And now we begin to understand this spirituality effect that we're talking about has something to do with our role in motherhood and the role of the African queens. We've given too much out. We have thrown, we've actually given too much of our responsibilities, as I can say, out. And then we turn around and wonder why things are not working. So the role of the African queen is so relevant to the restoration of our nationhood, to the restoration of our integrity. And now you see, I would open up the conversation because our queen is here. I cannot keep her waiting for long. But of course, what I wanted to share is this image from where we're going to, talk about the conversation after, we introduce her in, or she takes on the conversation and we get into the conversation proper. I would share this image that has been trending ever since we posted that image, and the commentaries and the feedbacks. And coincidentally, even before we defined the topic, the queen had told me we have to go in the Nubian way, just like the initiative that she's created. Her role and her mission is to work with the women to take us back home, each of one of us correcting one another. You're right. We're not saying that our kings are not important. They're a part of the journey. But we just want to say, let's just forget about that for now. Let's behave as if it was us. What has been our role as women? Because we are not really, what can I say, on concern or on, I want to get a right word. We are not politically correct. If I say political, we blame the leadership because the leadership is masculine, but we don't question the role of the queens in that houses. We blame the African Union or Honorable Faki in all of them, but we don't question the role of the queens in this role of our leadership. I mean, our kings or our mothers, our children in the US are murdered, apart from Dr. Arikana and some other very few voices. Where are the voices of the queens that are standing up, mothers that own these children? Where? You go back in the continent, in rural communities, you see the way even women treat children. And you ask yourself, are these really queens? Are these mothers? Do we have a soul? Are we human? I mean, let us talk on the issue of our role and the responsibility of the Black queens. Yes, we talk about our warriorship. Good, fine. We all know the Queen Singers and all that. But what are the other things that we are not talking about? Because it's only truth. And truth is what is going to take us back home to motherland. So welcome to this show, my queen. I'm so sorry that I kept you, but I had to give this feedback because a couple of things last week, we've not been on the conversation. YouTube shut us down a couple of days and we're just opening back today. So you're the first conversation. Even yesterday we had a guest, but they did not grant us any access, and that's why we're having you today. And so in the whole conversation, we also will be taking some guests in the end who are going to talk about the conference that PLO Lumumba, Professor PLO, is going to be hosting here in Germany this weekend. And so the organizers of the conference will be here, and even some of the panelists will join us in the end after we finish the conversation. I mean, 20 minutes or 10 minutes, just to tell us about what this program is all about. Because, of course, I will also be hosting on that program. And the topic is migration and media awareness. And so we can begin to see where the narratives are also coming and the engagement of the diaspora. Okay. But also, we will not conclude this conversation today without reminding you again of the official launch of the Africa We Want homepage, which would be open for registration for all initiatives and NGOs on the continent and in the diaspora. So we are live and back. I hope all of you are connected, and let the conversation start. Welcome, my queen.
You're welcome. Hi to all our beautiful African royals.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, I'm so sorry. I have to check because, like, ever since we don't trust anything anymore these days. I know
Yeah,
there is no power.
absolutely. We've been
Yes.
having a sound issue, all kind of issue, but you touch on the point. Anytime you want to touch on the spirituality aspect of us, you are bound to encounter some form of resistance. Okay?
Mm,
Because that's where the key to our true liberation lays. It
mm,
lays within our spirituality.
mm,
So, in order for them to conquer us the way they did, they had to squeeze themselves in there, in our divinity. They had to squeeze themselves in there, in the history of the people of God.
mhm,
So, you have to understand that someone can force you to submission for that long unless you perceive him or her as a god.
mm,
So that's why we're having problems, but still we're pushing. Like I said, we need our own platform where we can talk about ourselves and where we can address our children as if they're standing in our living room.
mm,
But you hit on a very key point. What I really want our people to understand out there, right? That in order for us to remain down the way we have is because the conquest of us was on every level.
mhm,
Physically, we were captured and enslaved. Mentally, we were forced to forget about who we are. I remember my grandfather telling us that sorry about I need to mute.
mm,
So I remember my grandfather telling us that when he was young, they used to force them not to speak our languages.
mhm,
If they caught a man or a woman speaking our languages, they were going to make an example out of him or her. They were basically going to give him or her the biggest public disgrace.
mm,
So to the point that I used to see grandparents who were struggling communicating with their grandchildren because they didn't speak French, right? Some
mhm,
families really bought into that colonization thing. They would shame those who spoke their native language. They would shame those who wear traditional attires and all these things. So you have to understand that everything they know, our forefathers taught them that. So back in the days in Europe, the woman had no value. Everything they put us through, every kind of physical abuse or torture or whatever, they practice on their women first. So back in the days, a woman to go to get married, she had to be from an established family because there was a dowry attached to her. So if she is to go marry somebody, it's like her father has to take a share of his wealth and give it to the groom. So when they came in contact with our people, the Moors taught them that no, the woman is the throne. She's God. To us, she's God because she's the one who gives life. Without her, any of us would be around. So when you marry her, you're the one who pays dowry to her family, because they're bringing a throne which will make you the man, a king. So they adopted our values. They took their women from dragging them by the hair, beating them, and all the stuff they were doing. She had no word. They put her up on a pedestal. And us, while we were their slaves, they taught us how to beat us up. They taught our men how to beat us up. They taught our men to rape us. They taught our men not to ask for anything, just to take. Now that we have become free, we now have the opportunity, the possibility to go back to our roots. I commend every woman out there to take their rightful place in their homes, in their families. You know, let me tell you something. Respect is something you give people, no choice, but give it to you. Not by being loud, not by insulting people, not by attacking people, by the simple way you carry yourself, the simple way you take care of yourself and your loved one. It leaves no room for any stranger or any intruder to come and dwell in your household. From which door are they going to enter? As I covered in a previous interview, we were given the crowns of unity. So when we fell, we started failing to see a fellow woman's child as our own. When we fell treating our sister's children as our own, all hell broke loose.
Yes.
So the key is us. When white women come and adopt our children, my question goes back, where's the mother? If the mother is not able to take care of that child, our ancestors taught us that when a female child has a child under your roof and she's not married, that child belongs to her father. That child will answer her father's last name. That child will be part of her father's legacy. If she doesn't have a husband, her brother or her father takes over the raising of that child as if it was his. So let's say if the mom is going through so many issues, there should be many family members ready to welcome that child before he or she ends up in an orphanage. So as we walk away from our responsibility, we have become so scattered. We have become so superficial. I mean, a lot of African women have lost their value. They have lost themselves to the point. And when things get nasty, when things get horrible, what do they find to do? They jump off ship. They go marry European. They go marry American. They go marry Chinese. They go marry as if that's the solution. The solution is to fix our household. The solution is to go back to our values. Our forefathers were not savages. Like the picture you shared, of course, a lot of our women will come, oh, these people, this, and that. But let's get real. The people who are truly out there helping us, picking up our slack, making up for our shortcomings, what do they get in return? Insult. The very thing we couldn't do ourselves, a fellow woman comes and does it. Instead of being like, hey, my sister, may you be blessed. May our creator and ancestor accompany you. And with that, because it's an embarrassment, my child has no business in a white woman's house. So when you get that embarrassment, you go back, you call your fellow woman in your community. I noticed that we're now having adoption in our community. Let's organize so that shame doesn't repeat itself. Because when you have them with our children, it's our shame. Now, those who do care for us out there, because one thing we shouldn't be is ungrateful. We are so ungrateful when it comes to one another. So it's natural just to be ungrateful to anybody else that is not from our community, but who has a sincere will to help us. I know there are not many, but there are a few. Everywhere we fought oppression, God in the end.
There's no sound. I don't know. Okay. I think she's freezing. It's strange. It's strange, yes. But like, but I hope I'm loud enough. I would just be sitting it on her. I can't hear you. I don't know. Okay. All right. So, like the Queen was saying, there's been a lot of comments and feedback. I shared this image. Tumi, can you show that image while we're waiting to get her back? I shared this image today, or 2 days ago. If you can see it from the screen there, and actually, we throw out that image in terms of topics that we usually talk about, topics that we throw it out on like a research, as I can say, and hear what people say about it, what we think about it, because that's the biggest way that we're doing what we call critical thinking about ourselves, that we begin to mirror ourselves when we see these images. And so I got a lot of feedback. I mean, really hard ones, some nice, some contradictory, some really like shocked. Susan, how can you post this? And I was like, wait a minute. So the question is, this is not the first time that we are seeing this. We know the case with Madonna. We know the case now with Angelina Jolie. We know a lot of cases. But there are also some a very prominent case in the Scandinavian. I think most of you have seen it. A Swedish woman who went to Nigeria on vacation and saw this young boy that was abandoned in the name of witchcraft, and that he was belabeled that a child that came with a spirit into the family to kill the family, and they went and abandoned this child by the river. And I mean, those are images that we see all the time. And this girl took this child, nourished her, and now this child is in the university and doing so very well in the Scandinavian, right? And so, I mean, when you as an African mother, a queen, and we sit and we say we are the creators, we are mother, and we see our babies in the arms of others. I mean, then we have to start thinking, what is wrong? What went wrong? Is it our tradition that we gave out our children? Did we have a culture of giving out our children into adoption? Because the principles of adoption never existed. From what I know, I mean, the African mother would die of hunger, but would die with her children in the hand. I grew up in the village. Whether we were 10 or 20 or 15 in the house, and we slept on one bed and ate in one bowl, no African woman, mother that I know, gave up their children, even when they were dying. So, where does this culture of us giving come from? Has number one to do with materialism, number two with the political systems that we're riding over. It is not a question of whether our children are interconnected with our Caucasian brothers and sisters. That's not the conversation here. But another question is, where have we ever seen a black mother saying, I adopted a white child? Where? It is a mentality and a critical thinking a situation as we begin to research and ask, how was it in our culture? In our culture, we know that even the proverbs that say a child is only your child when it's still in the mother's womb. The moment that child comes up, it belongs to the whole community. Just like the Queen was saying, you know, I mean, that child must belong. It is not a one man systems like we see the others living. Is my child, is my this. No, 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 no. I mean, any child on the road, it becomes mine. It's the same thing. Where do we have this? We've seen a lot of crazy, terrible things that we ask ourselves, how did we get here like mothers? We've seen cases in Nigeria of recent. Also, this video that was circulating all over, how a stepmother beat the son of the other woman to death, right? And people would justify all. Yes, it's trauma. Oh, you don't know what this woman is going through. But these are research that we're asking ourselves. Where does Mother Africa become this kind against her children? So something is wrong with our spirituality. And if the woman is attacked, and the woman is the first person, the one that creates and brings life, and we are already in this paradigm, why don't we open the conversation? Why is it so uncomfortable that when we see this, we don't take the responsibility to ask questions and say, but what went wrong? How did we get here? Is it our culture that we away our children? Why is it not happening in the other races? Why us? Because that child is automatically my image. It is mine, whether it is your baby or not. It is an African child in every other African image. And you know what? Because the communication is like we can take care of ourselves. We can take care even of our children. And that's why they would have to get UNICEF and all this to come, oh, go feed the child because, they're just producing babies they can't take care of. No, it's a false narrative and we know it so well. But the problem is, or the challenge is, are we going to sit and watch others do this, or we have to start holding those conversations and asking our own selves as mothers, as sisters, as queens, what is wrong? Is there something that we need to start working about instead of always shifting the blame? Oh no, it's because he take this child and now they turn them into this. How did it even find itself there? How did we even get to that point? Number three, we had our queen Renata Jones here. Oh my God, this is so crazy that we can't have her, and she's struggling to log in again. It's the same thing that we had, right? Like we said, when we start talking about our spirituality, it's always something funny that is happening. And yeah, but we are on it. We had our sister Renata Jones here who said it. These are spiritual attacks that we're dealing with here. We can point fingers at each other. It's not on personal people to people level. It is deeper than that. So whenever we see just pictures and we rant and like, oh no, 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 they did this, it was because we were colonized, it was because we were this. I tell you, even on the continent today and even in our homes, there are some ways, some attitude that we mothers portray and do when it doesn't come to our own children, or something is just not right, or the way we treat our siblings when we take them as house help, the kind of treatment, particularly the girl child. It calls for a lot of questioning and asking, and we are looking for solutions. Shouldn't we start by addressing this kind of attitude against, within us, in the context of women? Must it always have to be that it is, from the outside? Must it always have to be that these things have to be with, oh, somebody had did this to us, but we're doing it now to ourselves? So at some point in time, we have to take responsibility and own up to really some of the things that we do. It's not just seeing a picture and just ranting and just like, oh, we see it, we don't see our own responsibility. We don't ask questions. We don't think. Are you back? Oh, goodness. Thank you. All right. Okay. Go ahead. All right. there? All right. Okay, so anyway, we know her. She would get back. She would get back. Everything will be okay, and she would join us back here. I don't know whether probably it's also just a technical issue that she's facing out there, which is really strange because we've been here holding this conversation even at half an hour and nothing was like breaking up to now. Okay, yeah. So like we said, we begin to understand these things now and go beyond just thinking that, oh, because it's a spirituality that is on attack, and our spirituality can only, there is no cure to it than love, than us just going back to ourselves, going back to our ways, talking our things out, connecting with one another. And I think that's why I love her initiative, and she's out there putting out amazing videos calling the Nubian Queens out. It is our time to focus on healing ourselves from our past, from our trauma. Why would I, like a mother, look at another child because I didn't carry her in my womb and she becomes an enemy, a child? We all grew up like that. Most of us who never grew up with our mothers, right, on the continent, in every, and we still see these things on daily basis today. You look at a woman, the way she treats another woman's child, or even the family. You ask yourself, what is wrong? Mother? Do we know what mother is? And at the end of the day, we feel victimized. And at the end of the day, and we don't question, are these all these evils that we're doing that are summing up, that are coming up to we're talking about cleansing our spirituality so that we can connect, so that we can cleanse our land. But the Creator is telling us if we don't go back to our ways. And what is that way? The way of our God, the way of the God of our ancestors, the way of the God that we are. And what is that? If it is not love, not trust, not unity, not working together, if it is about breaking one another, if it is about, hate, so what is it we want to achieve? It is time for us to, at one point in time, we will have to own up these responsibilities. We will have to sit down and stop blame game and take up the challenge and say, how did it even arrive that our children are being in the arms of others? And then we start criticizing. Yeah. A lot of these mothers that are saying, oh, I really just wanted to say, and then you begin to ask, is it something that has to do with materialism? Because if these children landed out in the hands of nobodies and they were even maltreating them, would they even care to come out? Would we as mothers be concerned if we cannot even take care of the ones that we have among us to call this one is my own? So where does all this trauma comes from when we call it trauma? Where does all this witchcraft, we call it witchcraft, because that's exactly that. Dumping a child on the street and saying because the church has said this child is having a witchcraft. And now somebody who is
with that witchcraft thing. They really do.
Oh.
They really need to stop with that witchcraft thing.
Okay.
Because it has destroyed so many families. The colonizer came and told us that whatever we believe in was witchcraft. Yes. Just so that our witchcraft, so to speak, ends up in their museum. And they've been making millions out of our so-called witchcraft. So if you don't know what witchcraft is when you manipulate something or somebody to become other than what God intended them for them to be. Now, with that definition, the wizards and the witches are them. We need to get away from that brainwashing thing. Religion, they brought the religion to divide us. Religion was used as a tool to conquer us. Before they came, we had our ways. We have our own spirituality, which says we are one before God the Creator and with His entire creation. A lot of people shy away from the idea of unity because it may be too much work for them. It's easy to point fingers, but white women have no business adopting our children if we are taking care of them. Reality is we are not taking care of them. A lot of our sisters engage into, they're using children now as a tool to trap a man, as a tool to get whatever they want from a man and stuff like that. So the farther away we go from God's mandate, the Creator's mandate to our people, destruction is a certain things for us. Just like I explained, we started that mess, we the women, and only us can save our people. Unity is the key. The Creator instructed our ancestors to raise every child as his or hers. That's why back in the days, no women were really considered childless or barren.
Correct.
Because if you don't have a child, your sister will have a child and name that child after you and ensure you a legacy that way. These were our ways. Your sister nakedness is your nakedness. If you see your sister naked, our mothers used to run in their house and bring a blanket to cover them. In time of a big embarrassment, a public disgrace, you used to have women running into, they will remove their lapa to come and cover another woman's shame because it's her shame as well. But now, what do we see? I landed on a horrific video on YouTube. It was a young girl in Tanzania. She was being lynched by a mob because they accused her husband of being a thief. They stripped her naked. And in that group, there was another group of women following the crowd until they threw her in the dish and they were throwing stones. Savages. Back in the day, such thing will never happen because the other women in the community were going to throw themselves around her. If you kill her like that, you're going to kill all of us. That shows you how lost we are. And we need to stop all this. You see women, when they marry a man who already has children, discouraging that man from taking care of his children. So whereas the Creator put us by their side to keep them on the path of righteousness. So when you're sitting there, luring him to destruction, you are not a woman. You are Jezebel, and you need to be dealt with. When you see women destroy their sons' lives, she has her husband, but no, all her eyes are in her son's house, as if they want to be a wife to their son. They chase away all the women the son brings. What kind of success do you want for such son? The first managerial test of a man is in his household. If he can't keep one of us and a couple of little kids happy and collected, he can't manage nobody's company. Do you see? When we tear down our own homes, we compete with our daughter-in-law, we manipulate our sons. We want to ensure he is married to a woman we know we can manipulate from a distance. We're destroying that man. We have to take conscious of the things we do. The reason why we get it worse, us Black women, is because we are the mother of humanity, and our job was to enlighten our men so they could enlighten the rest of the men, the rest of the earth. This is our job. So it starts with us. We won't have enlightenment until we ourselves become enlightened. All that doctrine, religion, and everything, our ancestors died at gunpoint, convert or die. When you go to your churches and the so-called prophetic pastors tear you from your families, your mother is a witch. They abandoned her in the village. Your father is a wizard. The old man, after suffering, raising all these children, many of our fathers died, completely abandoned, because they're being accused of being witches and wizards. But we need to take our responsibility. There's no more excuses. We need to organize our communities in a sense where there's like council of women.
Yes.
We need to start in every community we are. We need to organize as as council. We need to have council to also stay away from their system. That in case there's a trouble between people, they go and consult with the elders. They go and consult with the mothers. Stuff like that. When a marriage is in crisis, they sit them down. Some older lady talks to them. That's our only way forward, because of course they force their values and stuff on us, knowing that we won't survive in that environment, because their values and everything go against ours. So while they are borrowing our original values and use it for their betterment, because when they got access of our knowledge, they burn libraries for a reason. Alexandria in Egypt, they burned the library. In the Mali Empire, they burned the library. So we can go back to what God mandated to our ancestors. But luckily for us, we are the only group of human beings that can have access to ancient knowledge through the spirit realm. If you guys wonder why our spiritualities are being attacked, whenever we touch a spiritual matter, somebody got to drop the microphone, because we, the Black people, the African, we have the abilities to receive that download. We don't need a book, because we are the original beings. We have that direct line connection to our Creator. How can you be the firstborn of the Creator and not have that free access to Him? So we, the Black people, the Africans, we do. And we need to go back to consulting with Him. We need to go back to applying what He taught us, what He mandated us to do. Or we're going to be lost. We need to stop the ungratefulness. We are too ungrateful. It starts with ourselves. You will see some of the family members, you render a service to him. The day you will say you cannot, they crucify you. You no longer worth nothing. They start cursing you. They start telling you all kind of things. All these need to go away, because as long as we remain like that, no one will dare stand by our side. The families will remain scattered because we fell out of order. The seniors, deserve their place. Even when the leader comes, he could bring all the best intention. And then what's going to happen? Give him a year or two, you're going to start seeing activists popping from. The minute they take their little trip, they go to London, or they come to America, or they go to Paris and meet with somebody who goes them, okay, go and bother that brother of yours. Tell him he does this wrong. Us. So the leader that came well-intentioned and everything now has to fear for his life. That the people he's mandated to protect and lead, many of them want to kill him because they want their seat. Whether they can feel it correctly or not, they don't care. And they go and make agreement with our so-called enemies. Many of our people agree to be a puppet just to cover themselves. They want to make enough money for their family. And for this, we also have to blame ourselves. Had we given our leaders the proper support, have we told him, we know you don't know everything. but know that we are behind you, good or bad. It will give our leaders strength. Why should our leaders go to war with people who can betray them at a drop of a dime? Our people are so ungrateful. We need to go back to review what we do. Our leaders are not animals. It bothers me, it hurts me when I hear some of our activists get out there and open their mouth on our fathers. My father was a politician, he was an ambassador, he was a minister and stuff. Everything my father told me, I saw that it was true. He said, Mama, sometimes we want to do our best. If only our people could stay still and stick to a program and stick to one song. But no, you're going to have a leader, the other tribes. Oh no, we are not represented. We want the power to us. So we're gonna talk to the enemy to get this one out of the way. Look at the African Union. They're supposed to rotate power. Now the Francophone are blocking because it doesn't serve French interests. Who do we need to blame? Us. While some of us want to free ourselves, we want to become our own people again. We want to, get that dignity back. But many of us are fighting to remain slaves. They will bring around you your worst enemy just to get under your skin. So you see, and when someone comes and does something good for us, we need to be grateful. We need to bless that person. That's what our ancestors want us. Because sometimes you could call help from the other side. The person they dispatch can look as white as snow. The person they dispatch could be a Latino. But if you stuck in your ways of thinking, no, because becoming spiritual is too much work. People don't want to do that work. They don't want to go within, meditate, and ask the Creator and the ancestor to let them know who's who around them. For many of us, it's too much work. So we stay on prejudices. We become racist. We become tribalistic. Some tribes cannot even intermarry.
Oh.
Because they're still at war. Whereas the Creator gave us the crowns of unity. We must stand as one. He gave us diversity of languages, of culture, and we must honor and respect God's intention for his diversity. He didn't give us diversity for us to kill each other over that. He gave us diversity to show his might, that he's so mighty, he's capable. He's capable of creating groups of people who speak different languages, who look different. But at the end of the day, they are all one. But whatever he gave us, a lot of us are using it as dividing factors. And as long as we use it like that, he will allow any evil to come upon us, because we are the one he gave the richest land. We are the one he gave the most beautiful being and the strongest being on the planet. We are the one he spoiled to the point that it attracted a lot of jealousy and envy, to the point we became a target, because he gave us so much. And to whom much is given, much is expected. If we can't respect the Creator's diversity, right? Why should we expect the world to respect the fact that we are different beings than them? You see? When we're being tribalistic, oh, you can't marry from that tribe, they are this, they are that, you can't. So they're putting everything first. Every single thing that could set us apart, that's where they put their head. And we are mistaken. We need to go back in cultivating unity. We need to organize. We need to have women council in
Mm.
every major city, every major town,
Mm.
where we have elders advising the youngest, where we have elders coaching. Even if we live abroad, we have to go back to the way we marry women. We have to go back to the way we naming children. We have to go back to the way we raise children.
Mm.
Our culture is our anchor.
My queen, there's also another image that I want I will want us to share, because
Okay.
exactly this is the point that I want us to look at it. We've been, yes, we know everything that the enemy or whoever did to us. That one is not a conversation. If we are here on the Pan-African Daily to always talk about things that they do to us, I think it's too much distraction. We've talked about that. We know those agendas, but now we want to start talking about the things that we do to each other and begin to reflect for the solutions that are African
Yes.
oriented solutions to that. Let me just share this image and we comment about it. It's also about that.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. This is an image of a grandmother that was slaughtered, murdered, as you see that crowd in a village on the continent. I don't want to call the names because sometimes when we start calling names, and that's why I said we are not going, even this agenda that, oh, some people are diasporans is crazy. It's already enough to divide us. There's no diaspora. We are one. If you were born of your descendants out here and you happen to find yourself out here, you belong to one of the tribes on the continent. And so we refuse that language of saying, oh, this one's a diaspora. So that's why when I say something, we're going to talk in a communal one system. We're not going to say, oh, he was from Nigeria or he was from this. Sometimes we make that just for orientation. And that's why we begin to divide even our communication by saying, oh, you see, it's because it's Nigeria. So we don't feel that empathy that because it happened there, it could happen to us. This is an image of a grandmother that was killed by the neighbors. As you see that grandmother begging for her life. And the community gathered. Yeah, they gathered around there. And actually we saw it. Gathering and children watching. And just because they accused this grandmother that she is a witch. I mean, you look at the grandmother at this age begging for her life and people surrounding, children watching, right? And so to me, take it out. It's okay. I mean, and look at people with handies filming, the crowd filming that incident. And people that were cheering, and she was weeping and mourning. I saw the video. I just want to share just a little bit of that image. We're not going to bring, because if we don't start looking at these things and know where our problems are, the blood that we spill among us, I mean, that's not a Caucasian doing it. And how
Thank
much
you.
does it take even the law to arrive there to save that grandmother's life? And we know the words of her mother, and particularly the words of a grandmother, the impact. So you see a grandmother like that begging and wailing, and he's killed in front of a crowd. Where do all these things go to? Are we there?
Yes, I'm here.
You
So,
know,
well,
like,
basically, just like I mentioned with the lynching of a young girl in Tanzania, I mean, that video disturbed me because not only it was like a mob of young guys, and there were also girls. A lot of women followed. So when you see that, it makes you lose hope. I come from a tribe who the French people classify as extremists, the Fang people, because the particularity about the Fang people is in time of crisis, all you need to say is, my brother, my sister, where are you? Wherever they're around, they will drop what they're doing and come to the rescue. They will beat up whomever they need to beat up and ask questions last. right? This is how I was raised. Even like when we go to school and stuff, our parents used to tell us to never fight in school. If we have any, discord or whatever, we take it at home. Why? X, Y, and Z doesn't need to know that you're in conflict with your brother, because should they really want to hurt you, all they need to know is talk to that brother of yours. You see? So basically, when we start protecting each other, the women in that community are to condemn. The ones standing there with their phones, all of them need to be arrested. It's only when we start taking actions like that that our people maybe will start giving value to their own lives. Because when we devalue ourselves to that point, what do we expect from the rest of the world, especially our former enslavers? There's a lot we need to correct. And since they brought their religion, whether Christianity, whether Islam, they brought it to separate us. So what you saw happen all the time in Africa. I watched another video of kids, two sons and a daughter. They took their mother, put her in a little it was like little 3 wall or 4 walls, and they set her on fire. I saw a video like that. I think that one was in Ivory Coast. So when we get to that level of barbarity, it means that we have lost ourselves. It means that we are a group of people that anybody can take over. When you see them talking about that they need to wipe us out because we're useless, it's because of stuff like that. Because we're the only group of people who will remain divided even when they are at war. So if we remain divided even when we are at war, it means we have no value we add no value to our lives. So why should the people who want everything we have value for us? We need to stop the pity party. We need to stop violence against women. Any land practicing violence against women is cursed in any way. Their witchcraft is more powerful than our witchcraft, because their witchcraft, their lies and manipulation have conquered the souls of many of us. White people are of the air element of creation. So what does it mean? They control the thought. Anything that is thought, this is where they master. That's why they're masters of illusion. So now that we know all that, it means everything they introduce to us, we must run from it like a plague. But a lot of us won't. They disown their parents, and their pastor become their father and their mother. Whatever money they make, they go and bring it to their pastor. Or the pastor has told them if they need prayers, they just need to go to their pastor, and so on and so on. They won't need their parents' blessings in life to do anything, because the pastor has taken the place of the father or the mother who brought you around and raised you. This is nonsense. We need to respect ourselves. We need to set a precedent. Wherever these kind of things are happening in Africa, they need to bring all these people to justice. Any government that allows lynching like that to take place, mob justice to take place, need to be severely judged. How can we prevent other people from killing us when all we do is kill each other? Or all they need to do is someone points you in public, you are a thief, the entire crowd, a whole mob comes and beats you up to death. We have become worse savages than those who have enslaved us. And us African women really need to wake up before it's too late. We need to organize. We need to take care of our household. We need to take care of our home. If we stop being jealous of one another, there won't be no coup. Let me tell you this, the kind of Africa we will live in when women stop hating each other. First of all, there won't be no coup. Because the one who has a husband who's that ambitious will caution her husband, no, I know I want a good life, but not at that price. Your brother brought you around. Your brother gave you a nice position. Be his support. Point out what he's doing wrong so he can better himself. Because as he shines, we all shine. Right? If the women do their job, which is to illuminate them, which is to lead them in the path of righteousness, we won't have coup. Mobutu's wife would have picked up her phone and called Lumumba's wife that my husband has gotten into a deal with these people to come and kill your husband. Prepare, it's coming. You see? But no, what happened in Haiti recently? So while the president's wife had probably the prime minister as the bestie, I bet you these two were hanging out together. But she just didn't know that all along she wanted her seat of first lady. This is the kind of things we do. You understand? So we need to get serious. And it has even been said, I don't have evidence of that, but one of my sisters even told me that a lot of our good presidents they were able to get, it was because of the woman. We have women telling their men, they promise them asylum somewhere, they promise them their paper and a lot of money. So she forgets that she's the first lady of an entire nation, but if she's mad at the husband because he's having an affair, she gives him away. These are the kind of things we're doing. So until we come back to our senses, until we come back to being the queen God sent us on earth to be, we will suffer. And our children's generation and children's generation will continue to suffer. We need to get off each other's face. What you know you couldn't do, but a fellow woman came and did that for you. Bless her. Say thank you for covering my shame. I couldn't do it on my own, but you came in and helped. Thank you. But what do we do these days? A fellow woman help you raise their kid. Like in my own example, there was a Gabonese kid here in town, right? Mm-hmm. She came from Gabon. The father brought her and put her and was living with the stepmom. And the news came that she was being mistreated. My son told me, no, mom, if you see the condition in which she's living, it's pitiful. Her stepmom is not giving her a break, blah, 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 blah. Until one day the mother, I don't know who gave her my number, she calls me. She's like, Madam, somebody gave me your number. I'm so and so. I'm from Gabon. She happened to be from my tribe too. She's like, please help my daughter. She's my only daughter. The father has her there with the stepmom. She's sick. They don't take her to the hospital. They have a little mattress on the floor. And the kid was calling me to bring her money for her cafeteria account. So I'm like, okay, I can help your kid provided we do it the right way. So get a power of attorney, go to the US Embassy, notarize it and send it to me, and then I go see the father and bring the child to my house. Little did I know, the child comes and I treated her like my very own. Wherever I take my own on vacation, that's where I take her. Wherever I buy into my own, I buy her. If I give my own $200 shopping spree, she gets hers. And on top of that, the mother starts bugging. Oh, send money, or I'm hungry. Oh, my sister, oh, and me sending money, feeding the mom at home, feeding the daughter here, until it came time for them to want papers. So the mother told her to tell me to go to immigration and say a bunch of lies against the father, that he abused her, blah, 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 so she could have papers that way. I told that woman, who do you take me for? I'm a mom. I didn't get involved to break up a family. I went and I saw what was happening. There were signs of mistreatment and stuff, but nevertheless, that's the father. He brought her. At some point, they will need to reconcile. When I told the mother that, you know what she did? She instructed her daughter to go to the school and tell the school that men are sexually harassing her in my household. So she could be found victim of sexual abuse or whatever and get papers through that means. So my house was on fire. The girl comes from school. She walks in 5 minutes later, CPS is at my door. A lady branding a badge. I'm like, what's going on? What's going on here? Oh, I'm from CPS and this, and the child so and so. There was somebody filed a report that she's being sexually sexually harassed. So all the men in the house in the age of 18 or more must leave. And now that time I was married to an African American. He just looked at me like, okay. So now I have to leave. My son has to leave because at that time my older son was 18. I had to scatter my family because I tried to help a fellow woman's child. But you know, when you come and play with a queen, you don't know what's up. In 2, 3, 4, I found the evidence. I called CPS. I'm like, come here. This is the mother giving her instruction on what to say, what to tell at school, how to dress. So even the clothes I was buying for her, she was instructing her not to wear it because she had to be believable. She had to go in at school wearing rags. So her stories are believable. So they lost because I exposed them. But this is to kind of show you the things we do to one another out there. We have become savages. And us, especially African women, Black women, we will not get a break until we fix ourselves. And I'm tired of hearing complaints. Oh, these people do that. These people, we are the one in these men's ears. The man who want to take care of his children, we go, no, we compete with his own children. You only the woman. Tomorrow you may divorce him. You could become his ex-wife, but his children will never become his ex-children. Let's respect God's order. There's an order of things. But as long as we are conniving, as long as we hate each other, as long as we think of each other as our people to use, we're going to be in the same predicament. Everybody, like the Chinese, they were oppressed too by Japanese and all. They had their own slavery under, in Japanese hands. Look at them, how they rose from that dirt to become a superpower today. Even Mighty America is fearing. It's because they're women. Behind every strong group of people, there are stronger women. Do you understand?
Mm.
It's just like you see them, you don't know if they have problems between them. You won't catch them out there insulting publicly each other. You don't know the way they grow their community. I have a Chinese friend who took me to Chinatown. And then she told me, these people who work, they're like slaves. They have to work like for 7 years, and then their master will set them up with a new life here and stuff. Do you hear them go and complain? Yeah. The person who helped you, the day you don't get your way, you're ready to crucify them. You're ready to send anonymous emails, and so it's us. And we need to stop that. We need to organize in women council in every major city. Those who wouldn't want, then we will know that you are for disorder. That's why you don't join the council. That's why you don't follow advice. And we set those aside. And we continue with those who want to enlighten themselves. Because our men are perceived as jokes worldwide. It's because we remain these jokes who scattered their royal home. Period.
This is hard. I must say this is actually hard. But because we are talking about the royalty, it's always been on the other side. I think we would not get even this female principles of balance if we also don't wear our own shoes to actually talk about issues like that. So I really thank you for bringing us back into our inner circle, because we've been always out all the time, always blaming victims and stuff. Of course, that it's also true, most of the abuses that women have got to go through. But that's not the topic for today. The topic for today is what is our own responsibility to the things that don't also work. And we are beginning to see that most of those things are actually majority in number, but nobody's addressing it. Now, my queen, do you think it's a trick? Because one thing I didn't understand about this system, why do they always say, oh, the women and the children are the marginalized? You know, like they take away the power of the queens and always make us feel victim. Is that a trick so that the men or whatever would continue to exercise whatever the thing, or just to dilute the powers to say, oh, you're even always the weaker sex, you know, you're the weaker, women are the weaker ones?
No, the one who brings forth can be the weaker one. Anybody who has gone through labor knows that at the birth time, your life is like on a scale. You may make it or you may not make it, right? But majority of us make it. Our body stretches and it comes back together. We are amazing human beings. We are incredibly strong.
Yes.
Even neo pediatrician will tell you that when they get cases of extremely premature babies, the black female is the strongest. Even if she's born at 6 months, she will cling to life. Everybody, all the other resters will die and she'll be there. That baby will live. This is how strong we are. We are nobody's, we are nobody's toy. What is happening is that a lot of us just hide because, as I say, the values were perverted. White men, in order for them to run the world as they wanted, they had to quiet their women, right? They gave her a life of luxury, effortless luxury, but nevertheless, everything we complain about the white man, the white woman is at the source. She's the one who sent him to fight these wars and conquer these lands so she could live that life and have slaves, have other human beings, because they okayed it. White masters were raping slave women in front of their wives as a punishment. They okayed it. So let's bring it back to us. Everything we complain about, even our men stepping on us, we taught them that, period. How can you go and try to be righteous in front of someone when in many occasions you advise him to do the worst and the most horrible thing? This is how we lose our power in front of them, right? You heard him betraying his friend who just gave him a big position. Somebody comes and tells me, okay, your friend is playing tough, but we can put him in his position if you let us kill him. And they agree to that. The women say, go do that. So we need to stop playing victim. Who gives birth to white supremacy from barely and nurture them and teach them that black people are inferior, Mexicans are inferior? It's a white woman. Same thing with us. We raise our kids to compete against one another. But what we forget is that the competition doesn't stop in our neighborhood. It doesn't stop in our village. It follows them everywhere they go. But that seed was already implanted by us. Instead of teaching our children that, no, each one of you has his purpose on life. Okay? Just ask God, the creator and the ancestors to enlighten you as to what your purpose in life is. No, you say, oh, such and such kid is now a doctor. When am I going to have a doctor in this house? Some of our mothers just put unnecessary stress on our children. Who told you that there's going to be a doctor in your house? Have you consulted with God on the souls he sent you? You see, it's still us. Oh, such and such son just bought a nice Jeep for the mother. You start nagging in your son's ear. He goes and steal money to make that mothers happy. Because this is how we get them. The love they have for us, we use that same love to mislead them, to destroy them for our own service. And then when all hell breaks loose, here goes, hey, no, we can't be doing all that.
I like the hey, that is typical village. That is typical village. I mean, those slangs of hey, you know. I mean, really, I begin to accept. My daughter is watching us, Nyesha. I mean, when I heard that I'm a descendant of the Fang, that my ancestors also are like, oh, wait a minute. Okay, of course, I know the Fang in Cameroon, but I never ever thought. But I like, okay, but you see the slangs and the way and the thinking, just we are one. How did we
We
even
are one.
how did we even begin to think that, oh no, he's from A, from Z? And my queen, I appreciate you so much. It is not easy to speak out this truth to power. It is not easy at all. I don't know any woman. Most of us are political. Most of us are just being nice. Most of us just want to, but saying it like this, like calling us to other, I think, I don't know, I said it from the beginning. This is an initiative we must support with all. Now, the next question, my queen, we are on a journey to say now we need a lot of you queens coming here. We're going to also have Dr. Elaine, who was here. We're going to have Queen Renata Jones come once a week or twice a week or a month, and you as well. Because like we are seeing from this other point of view that we need to work on ourselves and our daughters and our mother, even all of us, we're already the mothers anyway. We're all in this middle. We need to, something has to be done. What do you think about that?
Absolutely. I mean, there's got to be a call to action. I mean, we have run enough assessment. We have pointed fingers at everybody we could possibly point fingers at. And we need to change the tendency, period. We need to change the tendencies of, of being, each other destroyer. And it starts with us. I don't care what anybody says. It starts with us. Men will not value us until we start valuing ourselves. Back in the days, our fathers, before they even marry another woman, they couldn't bring it up. Our mothers would be the ones bringing it up. This is how much power they had, It's like I'm old in age and I see that we don't have enough kids. Maybe I can welcome another wife to have more children for us. And she goes and found that wife. And even that wife knows in her head, this is the principal wife. So she's like our mother too. Everybody was in line. But these days, no, they won't do it. But and yet they agree to be a polygamous wife, to go in there and fight war, to go in there and compete. You compete with his children, you compete with his other wife, you compete with his parents, you compete. And kids are raised to play in that saga. You're going to be the one telling this to your dad. Madness. We need to stop. We need to organize. I don't know how we're going to do it. We need to organize in council, women council, and give reward and acknowledgement to the real queens out there. Set a standard. Set a standard.
Yes.
That we're gonna have a club of queens. If you're not in that club, you're not doing anything for your people, for your community. We need to set that standard, us, and we need to raise better children. From little, start telling your son, what is your brother is your brother. God has a different destiny for you. God has another set of blessings for you. God couldn't have forgotten you. You are all my children. Like that. Same thing with the children of another woman. You know, another woman's child is your child. Our people say a child doesn't belong to who or he who gives birth. A child belongs to who or she who takes care of him or her. This is this is the person who has the rightful everything on that child. When that child gets married, the uncle that raised you is the one who's going to receive your dowry if your father was absent.
Absolutely. It's a fact. We know it in our community, where even when we do these associations, and somebody will pass on, you would always see, I don't know, 80% were like, oh no, she's not really my biological father or mother, but the way she raised me, I consider her mother, even more than the
Yes.
biological. That's the African thinking. There was never nothing like, this is really mine, this is not mine, this is this. We don't even have those words, steps. We only heard stepmothers and step this. This is an English word. Existing in Fang language. We just know mother. We just know mother. Mm, mm, mhm, okay, can you hear me now? Okay. All right. I think we have Queen. You would just take a break a little bit, sip some water. Let's just hear a short information about the organizer of the Conference for Migration and Media Awareness, who is joining us all the way from Germany in Hamburg, and is a brother, one of us from Nigeria, that is a migrant expert here, connecting all the dots. And I think the one of the key points that they would be discussing in this conference is actually, issues of migration. So we greet our brother here. Good evening, sir, Mr. Larry. Good evening, sir. So yes, how are you?
I'm fine. Thanks for having me on your program finally. If
Yes,
it's through the
actually.
CMME that I will join you, I will be able to come on this your prestigious program to talk. Uh, I'm happy that this has happened finally.
Thank you much. Yes, I know you don't have time because already the conference starts on Thursday, which is tomorrow, and it's
Mhm.
going to take place the whole weekend. Can you just give us a little bit of overview? What is the topics and the guests that will be coming around? I mean, of course, I know I'll be hosting one of the
Mhm.
sessions there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically, the conference. My name is Larry Macaulay, as you've introduced me, and I'm the founder and the convener of the Conference on Migration and Media Awareness,
Mm,
which was created in 2016-17. We had the first edition in 2017, and we're having the second edition now.
mm,
The Conference on Migration and Media Awareness is just a grassroots platform that enables migrants, people of migratory experience, civil societies, everyday people to have a platform where they can engage intellectually and socially with policymakers, bloggers, dialogues, politicians, etc. And we come, it's a 3 day event mixed with a lot of mixed with culture, arts, and politics and talk. So we have plenaries, we have debates, we have statement platforms where people come and give statements on issues affecting them in their community.
mm.
And we have a pool of experts coming from all over the world, Europe, and these experts, everyone is an expert in his own right. You don't need to be a PhD holder or be a minister to be an expert. So we have everyday migrants, people who deal with migration issues on a daily basis, like the CSOs and the NGOs on the ground, who are the core groups who are participating here. We only opened it up to the internet, to the main politicians, so that we can channel our issues to them directly. So that's why we had Council of Europe, the European Council partner us the last time and also this time. This time they are not doing it physically, but last time they were the major partners. And we have the distinguished Professor P.L. Lumumba, who is one of our guests of honor, who is opening the opening session on Friday. We have the Minister of Culture and Media in Hamburg, Dr. Carsten Brosner, who is going to open up with his own welcome remarks to the international guest and audience. So we have you, Dr. Tata. We have people from the Community Media Forum in Europe. We have people from AMAC Europe. We have various institutions coming, about 100 of them coming together in this partnering with us to have this second edition, and hopefully we have a successful event.
What was the point where you thought that you had to invite Professor PLO? What actually was that drive about? What is it
Well,
that you wanted him to address, or what would he be addressing on?
there's no doubt that distinguished PLO Lumumba, Patrick Otieno Lumumba, is one of the most articulate voice coming from the African continent and the black race at the moment. He's been there for a while. He's been articulating issues affecting the everyday people. He speaks truth to power, and we watch his videos in the diaspora a lot. I'm a huge fan of his. I've tried so many times to get in contact with him. It wasn't easy, but things happened. And the issue is that we need the most articulate voice, which is not the romantic voice of the African leaders to come and address issues affecting our people. If
Mm,
we invite an African leader now, he will come and romanticize the reality. He won't say the reality as it is on the ground. But PLO Lumumba speaks truth to power. No matter who you are, no matter your distinction, he will tell you if you're wrong, if you're corrupt, what you need to do. And that was the reason that I decided that we need this articulate voice of our time to be on this platform and to speak to us, Africans in the diaspora, and also to speak to the Europeans, to wake them up and wake us up to our responsibility in society. So those are the key factors that made me say this man must be on this platform to encourage us, to motivate us, because he motivates us in his speeches. Many of us have given up on politics in Africa because it's not working. But with PLO Lumumba, his stature, his nature, he brings us back with his words because we know there's somebody who's got our backs. So that's the reason.
I mean, when I look at the conference, you have very high profile guests. I mean, particularly European guests, and you're getting Professor Piero Lumumba, and you know what exactly he will not roll his tongue. Are they already so to the point that you think it's just a here thing? Oh yes, they've been talking and so on, or you think after the conference there's something that is going to change in terms of policies?
Of course, it will change. In 2015, we articulated something, it changed. No matter how little space they give to us, the changes come. So this time around, that's the same thing we are trying to achieve, to effect change, because at the end of the conference, we will submit a report to the highest level in the European level and also to local government, local NGOs, so that this is the resolution we came out of the CMMA. And believe me, I used to think also before that we just come talk, it doesn't work. But if you have the right channels to submit your issues, it gets addressed. No matter how little attention they give to it, it gets addressed. So for me, it's important that we have, well, if you say we have Europe, a lot of European, not really true. And the first edition, yeah, but this second edition has a lot of Black representation because this time around it's for my people. It's not for them. So that's the reason why it has a lot of Black colored people on it this time around. And for me, like I said, with PLO Lumumba supporting us with his presence, it is a plus to the struggle in Europe here. So that's just, I would just like to say, keep it like that.
Actually, I truly appreciate your work, Larry. All of us on the Pan African Daily actually recommend that because that's going to be one of the events that is already on all the medias are talking about it. Particularly the fact that Professor Pielo Lumumba is going to be a keynote speaker, and some people in the community are actually looking forward not just to see him in person, because I mean he's current here, but some strategic things after this COVID and after and the crisis on the continent, particularly like now we're seeing Sudan also in this crisis, that he is going to table it to it. So the audience is actually African. I've seen the flyers, I've seen it. That's even the reason why I'm also hosting on. I understand that. Do you think he's addressing the message to the Africans in the diaspora to build the continent, or what do you think the audience that he's addressing the message to, what is it telling them?
It's both ways. The information, his address will hit both us, the Africans in the diaspora, and those back home or in the Caribbean or elsewhere. And it also raises awareness of warning of caution to our white friends, our European partners, that the focus must be the focus, So that's why I say it's a two-way streak. He's sending us a message. A lot of people in the diaspora will come and watch him to hear him speak, and they get motivated. And also the politicians, the local politicians in Hamburg, and the political groups, elites, will also listen to him because he's an articulate voice. He's the best we have at the moment. So that's why the information is traveling in two ways, both for us and both for the local community, the local Europeans, and so on and so forth. Because journalists are coming, over 250 to 300 delegates are already in, and they will take things back to their society. Those are coming from Italy, those are coming from Canada. They take stories back and write about what they heard, what they experienced at the CMMA. So that's the thing. It's an exchange of everything: culture, politics, dialogue, networking.
Thank you so very much, Larry. I mean, it's not easy. I know we're all here in Germany to put up such a amazing forum out there, and I see your whole team of volunteers have been working day and night to make sure that this event, and you like in an African, pioneering this kind of high end event is not actually a doorbell. We all know that. So
Easy.
yes, but just one last question before we leave you.
Mhm.
Thank you to me for displaying the flyer. That's the flyer for all of you that are watching us from Germany and around Nord. We are going to make some noise around Professor P.L. Olumumba this weekend. I promise you it's going to be hot out there.
Yes,
And
yes,
it's the
yes.
whole time that we raise up as a people, as one, and speak with one voice. So I'm calling all of you. You've seen those flyers on all our platforms. Make sure we all meet in Hamburg, Germany this weekend, and to raise our voices truth to power and with under this leadership. How did you get this through? Because we couldn't even organize the festival because of COVID, and you're doing this. Is it easy to just do that?
Yeah, it ain't easy. The COVID thing created a mess. This event was supposed to take place in 2019. The
Mm,
first obstacle we faced was the funding target, because we seek for public funding from institutions to support, so that we can have this conference. So we couldn't meet up with the funding threshold. So we had to hold on until the applications got through. Then in January 2020, the application got through, and then we kicked it rolling. We started everything, putting everything in place, discussing with the partners and blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden, COVID came in February or March. Then I looked at it and I was like, all this online thing they're doing, it's not going to work for the CMMA. So Larry quickly make a decision. And so by March of last year, I already made a decision to push it to 2021,
mm,
thinking by then we would have resolved the COVID situation. But then I was wrong, you know. So COVID is going to be with us for a while. So then we had to go to plan B, have an hybrid event. Many platforms have propped up during the past 12 months. So it's quite easy. Then I talked to my partners in the Camp Nagal International Center, and then we reorganized the whole planning. And then, but still yet, we had serious obstacles because the COVID rules were changing
mm.
weekly in Germany. So now we have the 2G, 3G thing, which is so confusing for myself and my audience coming, also my participant, my guests coming are also confused about all these rules that apply. If you don't have a PCR test, you can't go in this, you can do that. If you don't have so it's quite confusing. But at the end of it all, the show must go on. We must be determined if we believe in the cause that we are really pushing out there. So that's why no matter the obstacle, we go on. The show will go on. 28 to 38, and nothing will stop us. No COVID will stop us. Nothing. We'll do it. We will achieve it, and we'll go on.
Thank you. Exactly. That's the point. Nothing. COVID is here to stay with us. And so, no excuses of, oh, we can do this. We always have to figure out our way and alternatives that we would raise our voices as high as we can and, bring ourselves together on the unity. So, thank you so very much, Larry. We'll see yourself in
Thank
Hamburg
you.
this weekend. And
Thank you for
thank you for the
having me.
invitation as
And
well. Yes. And enough courage to you and your team out there. Okay.
thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Pan African TV, Dr. Susan Tatah, for the efforts and for the support. Great work you're doing, and don't give it up. We believe in this TV. It's one of the TVs that we have now on the continent, being
Hmm.
someone in the media. So you'll meet a lot of your colleagues, people you can talk to in the media field when you arrive here on Saturday. So thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for that acknowledgement and also that opportunity. It will be a great pleasure. Thank you so much. And we
Thank you.
see us, yes, this weekend. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah. Can bring the queen in back. Thank you. Thank you. I think, yes, we have been. Oh, wait a minute. Where is our queen? All right. I think she was kicked out at the time we refreshed. She must be struggling to come in or something. Anyway, but we have a couple of minutes to round up the conversation. I hope she can join again. I don't see I see her struggling and stuff like that. Um, yes, we all are aware of the fact that the continent, in some point in time, is actually going through some political crisis. We heard last week the elections, or they call it a coup or whatever, that took place in Sudan. Actually, Nation, I and Patrick, we haven't reached out to get that news because we were working, or we're working, trying to put things to work for this official launching of the Africa We Want platform, because we are getting on the another level. On the level of talking is not going to help us much. We would be talking, but we have to do the talk anytime. And so it's very important for us to get a platform where we get ourselves together. And it's going to be an amazing platform. I've seen the homepage, and the engineers on it are doing a very marvelous job. We have futures that are coming up to give a history about all what. And our focus is Pan-Africanism, particularly empowering the youth and women to take over the Africa we want. And the elders, the experts and the expert pools are here to give all the necessary talents and skills and know-how, for what the youth of Africa need. I mean, worldwide. What the young people need, we already have it to give it to them. And so this is all what this platform would be doing, getting the data, and so creating another space where we can work with them, teach them, do workshops, seminars, mentoring, because that's the level we want to go to. And it's the same thing that we heard the Queen saying, we need to organize ourselves. Women, so she's also an expert pool on the Africa We Want event, and we have like Maponga, Rutendo, Dr. Tata, Dr. Elaine, all these conscious experts that we're bringing here. It's not just Dr. Professor James Small, they are constituting now this expertise pool. We call it the Pan-African expert pool that we were talking about for a while, because we need to start the rite of passation. And the rite of passation is giving over the leadership skills, the knowledge that we have known in our past to the next generation. We have never done this. It is as if it is a problem in the African race that we don't give over power. We don't hand over power to our young people, and we expect them to take over the continent. They don't have no data about the continent. They don't have no statistics, because the education that we have on the continent doesn't give them the possibility to even know the minerals that they are supposed to defend. So how do we think that they will not cross the Mediterranean dying there? It is all our responsibility. And I look forward to all the organizations that are already lining up to say, yes, this is what I've been missing. This is what we need to do. This is the platform that is a walking space. So if you are an NGO, or you have an African initiative, Pan-African in nature, even not, but any African initiative, whether they are foundations, they are groups, they are local communities that are coming together for whatever reason, get ready to register and get a membership on the Africa We Want, because we want to get into the root causes. We've been talking, our elders have been lecturing, but it's time to pull back. If it is about our girls, we teach them. If it's about us women, dialogue, communicate, find out what is our situation, what are the challenges that we're facing that we can help ourselves. If it's about the men, if it's about our boys, if it's about our elders, how do we organize our community like others are doing? Our elders need assistance. Our women, now we're talking about all these challenges. These are all traumas. Just like Reverend Reshak said, nothing, it actually is wrong with us. Something happened to us. And it has been a generation to generation to generation. So it is time, while the Queen is mobilizing the Nubian queens together and putting these structures together, we want to have a house where we can know who is doing what. Because at the moment, all of us are doing particular double, triple things. In the groups, you can see all the groups are doing some of the things because we are not communicating, right? And so, yes, I look forward to actually this launching. We are thinking, from what I get, that is going to officially take place on Monday. But if there's some delays for whatever reason, we would get back on communication with you as they actually trying to put everything to work. So please make sure you get your organization registered. I also had feedbacks in the group that was forwarded to me, and people complaining, oh, we don't have money to register our organizations. So how are we going to organize when we are not forming these groupings? Now we don't know which young people we can empower in terms of agriculture. We don't know which ones have talent. It's like the Africa We Want platform. We want to do a kind of a taking stock on the continent of Africa. We want to take stock. That's a fact. We cannot develop a continent when we don't even know. We don't even know the sectors. Who is interested? We help our people. We have to develop Africa. They have to come and build industries. We don't even know. What industries? What capability? What resources? What capacity? What financial methods? What is it? So all the youths have been organizing. The ACOP is there. The Rapid Africa Plan is there. The African Developmental Plan is there. The ADDI is there with the organization for the diaspora, the PLO Lumumba Foundations, and many, many, many organizations. But we don't have a common space where we can see who is doing what, who is not doing what. And so it kind of sounds like we just like scattered. We need a structure. And so I'm so happy, and I'm really thinking that we could have this space so we can take a data. We can send our young people to work. We can tell them what to take care of. We can tell them what the borders look like. We expect them to take a continent where they will be working with Chinese people, where they will be working with Europeans, and they have no clue who these people are. No clue. And we begin to think when they come, trick them, give them all these petty, petty things. Why would they not sign the contracts? Nobody even tells them how a contract looks like. Nobody explains to them what it is. Most of these NGOs we see, even the developmental partners out here, just go to them and talk to them. And because we're generally open and hospitable by nature, we sign these contracts without even reading. And even if we read it, they are so designed in a way to put you all in a trap. So, but who is doing all that? We don't have centers that are mobilizing our young people, train them on intercultural competence. Know that these people that you'll be working with them in future, this is how their culture looks like. They are people that think only for themselves. They're not coming and smiling at you to give you anything. So I think it's time that we gather all this data. We have a common space where we start analyzing. And so we can even teach our young people what is it that they have to be paying attention, other than just talking about taking the power or doing this. Even the political structures, they have no idea. But it's only the diaspora that knows both could give the skills over. And because we see the blocks are already there, they don't get the citizenship, we can't even get access again on the continent. We are blocked. We are like landlocked. But we have to find a way to break through and give the knowledge, the skills that we can. And I know a lot of people in the beginning in the diaspora, nurses with competence, teachers, community leaders that have had this experience. This is a time that we have to gather and give out that know-how. We're not going to die and carry all our competence with, and then we expect the young people to make their own experience. Nobody does that. And Africa should never do that. It is time for us mobilize our people, take stock on the continent, and start knowing which tools are we using to empower what community, which groups, where do women lack support, how can we empower them with skills, with knowledge, what is it that we don't know that they have to tell us, how do we dialogue? A lot of secrets are so entangled in us. The elders don't talk to their children. They don't even know anything. Most people just die, and their families or their successors will look for a will, or they have to go to a sangoma to tell them. Because there's no dialogue, there's no communication. How do we break all these barriers that have been put so that we can start on another level? So I'm looking forward to this registrations. Yes, we must build, starting from our families, starting from our homes. Everything we have work to do. It is a total cleansing of the continent. It's not just as easy as we just sit there, produce content, talk about the things that they've been doing. Yes, we know all those things now. Please, let's not keep repeating the same thing. We know already. But what is it that we should come into us now and say, now we know this is a time for us to produce. This is a time for us to do, right? 67% of unemployment are young people. And you know who even the majority class is? Young women. How can we solve that when there's no creation, no job creation? And job creation can never happen when we are taught to only work for people and not create. And we know how skillful, how talented our young people are. All they need is just an elder or leadership that will guide them, and the rest they will do it for themselves. All right. So I'm looking forward for all of us. If you are not belonging to an organization, you also can be a member as a private member, associate member, or whatever. If you have skills in anything, painting, talent, drawings, cartoonist, these are all skills that an African never pays attention. We always use our culture for entertaining other people. We ourselves have never sat at the table and enjoy our own culture. Yes, we do dance, we go to party and stuff like that. But we're talking about some kind of things like visions. We don't have drawings and painters. We don't. Those are people that we don't even look at if they're useful, if they're not PhDs and academicals that are doctors and have this kind of conventional kind of works. But handwork is the only thing that has built a nation. What the youth can use with their hands, necessarily because they're less privileged or to attend a university degree or a secondary school, but they produce everything with their hands. What if we train them more, expand on their capacity to do more with their hands? And so they will innovate a lot of things. And there's just too much talent on that continent. We say it all the time, but how many percentage do we know? What industries are they operating on? So we need to take stock. And the only way to take stock is to get them into groupings according to their interests and their focus, and to get them registered so we can take statistics. They keep telling us we're 1 point, how many? Who is it? We just pick the statistics ourselves. Have we ever done a census? Have we? We're talking about the language barriers and stuff, or religion, and this is the things that we see on social media and the videos and that. Are we really setting up a concept to analyze this thing from our perspective? Or we just jump into our business and do our things and run out? No, I think if we're called, we have to do the job that we're already doing. We're already doing so much, so much. But I think now we're moving to another level. And so we don't have too much time, maybe 10 years at most. But if we are ready to set a structure that the youth would take and work on, that is our responsibility and that's our duty for our continent and ourselves. So I want to thank all of you. I don't know, I can't get back the queen here. This is so sad. Honestly, she can't log in again. Oh, let me try if I can get her on the phone, because we can't just leave her like that. Yes. And let's see if she's there. Just give us a goodbye word out there, and we'll be making it another session next time with her. Yes. Okay. Oh.
Yes, my dear, you ready for me?
Yes, please. Thank you. Just join us. Okay. Let's conclude. Yes. And then your break is over. Your break is over. Click and join. Thank you. All right. So yes, we're just having the last words and motivation again from her, and giving us what the way forward looks like on her initiative. What is it that we should be paying attention? But I already thank a lot of followers that she's having. And she's dropping out a video out there, or a production, I think every week or on weekly or even days, and becoming very powerful. And so these are all initiatives we have to support a lot. Pick the videos and share it, like our brother Leo Wright is always doing. Every video that she puts on her YouTube, we take it and we circulate it among all the groups. This is a teaching, and this is a way of life. Yes, exactly. She'll be joining us, and let us conclude this session for today. I want to thank all of you that are here. I'm so sorry we were so deeply into the conversation that I didn't even put on my head here. And I see somebody writing, oh, we should be having a radio also. We will have everything. Did she join? Not yet. All right. We should be having a radio. We should be having everything. Of course, we have everything. We're all creators, right? Okay. So let us hear the last words and the way forward from our queen. Queen, are you there?
So, our beautiful royals of Africa, as you already know, we were dethroned and remain dethroned. And as I keep on saying, respect is something which you leave the third party no choice but give it to you. So our people as a whole will get their respect back on the world scale only when we Black women go back to respecting ourselves, to making better decisions, to decide, to make a conscientious effort to become one under the Creator, under our ancestors, and under men and women. We have to be that living testimony. And it's time we get to business. We get to work. Now, now, now.
I'll share, my queen. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. When are we expecting to have? We would like to really have a permanent days where you can come on the program, because like every other leader, we have to go through that format so that we really get the message and the journey and the call. Particularly this one. Do you think it's possible to have you? What is your schedule like? Once in 2 weeks or every week or?
I can have Wednesdays open for you.
Oh, beautiful. Wednesdays. I see Naisha is taking the notes. Thank you so very much. Right. So yes, you put on a package. What is it that we like to do, or you want us to do? You already gave us everything that we are. You're setting the foundation. What about the videos that you're dropping? How often do you put your upload videos so that we can pick and share and run with it?
Yeah, our uploads are every other day. Okay. And now we're trying to speed it up if we have more people that do the editing and everything, because the outreach also involves our children captured by Portuguese and Spanish, because we have a very large community in Latin America that I don't want to leave out. So I can be providing the translation of every content, but if we have more people editing and putting the subtitle or the voiceover, we will be posting daily.
My queen, do you also think of doing some kind of like live hostings also on your page where people can ask questions and the community can?
Yes.
Or you just think you're going to be doing?
We're starting the live streams on November. November 1st will be our first.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yes. And the live stream will be daily. I will be presenting, I will be sharing knowledge and African wisdom, because I realize there's a lot of things that we out there doing, because even the Africans on the diaspora have lost touch with who we are.
Correct.
Everywhere is modern. People want to be, that the modern thing. Like a video I recently posted, warning our daughters who are kind of promoting this lifestyle of idolizing white males. So they will post the blogs and post their husbands and their children, their camera follow them even in the delivery rooms and stuff. I'm like, yeah, but we need to respect ourselves. They have been at war with us, right? So if it's that easy to get us, they will continue the killing of our sons, brothers, and fathers. So if you marry to a white man of influence and you're sitting there, you're not making noise in his ear like, listen, your people have been on our people's neck. And marriage for us, it's a fusion of spirits. All right? It's a fusion of spirit, fusion of family, which becomes one. If you're not able to let your husband know that, then we don't need to see you gallivanting around on the internet, because it makes us look pitiful. The African woman is the prize. There's a lot of our daughters, they found them on the internet 2-3 weeks. Some of our fathers are marrying their daughters to total strangers, just for them to end up in a basement somewhere in Europe or North America being prostituted. Some of them, they bring them and sell them on the internet, drug them up. The parents never hear back from them. How can we add value to ourselves when our parents back at home are giving away our daughters to strangers because they came and gave them $500 or 200 euro? So we have a lot of work to do in re-embellishing the Black woman, because on the world scale, I won't lie to you, we look pretty unattractive. We look cheap. Anybody comes, Chinese come, we open legs, we get baby. European come, we open legs and get baby. And in our community, these mixed kids get a better treatment than our own. We need to revisit. We need to get our house in order before we could address anybody and what they do wrong.
All right. You have a time, my queen, where what time you said on the first, I think we're also doing the launch. But I mean, like, what times would you be streaming?
On on your platform on African Daily TV on Wednesdays?
No, Africa Daily TV is, we have the same time, 2 p.m. Eastern.
Ah, okay. Well, our streaming will be 10 Central. 10 Central. Yeah, daily. So we will share knowledge. We will share knowledge. We will share wisdom. We will build them up. You know, I grew up in a household where I was never called any other name but Mama or Ngingone. But a lot of us raise children and we don't give them that confidence. Some African Americans sometimes tell us that us Africans, that a lot of us act like their shit don't stink. It's because a lot of our parents, you know, raised us in putting that pride. So we need to go back to that. But now we have parents calling their kids any kind of names. And then it's thinking their subconscious. And then since the parent, the African or the Black parent mistreat them, they're going to be out there looking for anything else but Blacks. And it causes disloyalty within our group, right? We shouldn't worry about our daughters marrying outside the race and everything, because if they go with a bitter heart because one of our sons really treat her like nothing, at the same time, we can blame her, but at the same time, we want them to look back and help heal and help rebuild our women and daughters.
They have to first of all heal themselves. If something broke them and they went there, they themselves
yes.
That's
how I see it, because I mean the whole thing, I mean, I give them credit. I mean, the other side, they've been masterizing their dominion over us. It's like they don't give us a break. Even when you try to relax that, oh, maybe things are really changed. One of them will be something so barbaric to remind us that the era of terror is still in full activity. But it's us who don't take our struggle seriously. You see, many of our sons, they make money the minute they become somebody. Oh, a Black woman is no longer good enough to stand by him. You see?
Absolute. It's crazy. What is going to be the name of your channel? People are asking.
Oh, it's Nubia, the Path to Return. So we will start a series on wearing our crowns.
Yes.
And from there, I will break it down how on daily basis. There's a video I published on Nubia, the Path to Return. I forgot the title, where I basically say we need to start changing the tendency. For example, us in the diaspora, when we bump into each other, let's make it a practice, a habit of eye contacting each other and greeting. Hey, my brother, hey, my sister, I see you. Hey, my brother, hey, my sister, I see you. So people around will think that they all know each other. If somebody was going to do something stupid, they will think again. I saw him walking in, he greet all these people, so I guess if I do something stupid, they're all gonna jump me. Just like back at home, we need to stick together. So when we treat each other, like we matter, it would leave the rest of the people around us no choice but treat us as such. You see what I mean? We have to matter to ourselves first.
Yes. That's very pertinent.
We will be streaming daily. We will be streaming daily. Yes. I'm very hopeful. Everything is not lost. I'm very hopeful that we can get it right. Black men and women are the strongest human beings God has put on earth. We're the most resilient. With the one group of people with genius traits in our DNA. I mean, the Creator didn't leave anything out. He gave us wealth. He gave us strength. He gave us beauty. He gave us intelligence. Our past should not define our future.
Absolute.
So
I hear you, my queen. Absolutely, it's so true. It's so true. Please, if you have a flyer or anything to announce it, please don't hesitate, or your PA to drop it to us so that we can share it also with the community. Share a link to your YouTube page so that we can all tune in and let's know this is the Nubian, the path to return that is commencing at this times, and so we should gain that knowledge. We need it so badly. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Anything that you want to conclude before we go?
Yes, I want to conclude. Our people say, as long as the lion doesn't have a storyteller, right? The hunter will always have the best side of the story. So with my crowning and my mission, that saying, verify there, because my mission was to tell the truth. They didn't just send me to tell the truth, just to tell the truth. They sent me to tell the truth because they knew that it will help us heal. So, absolutely. So I want people to know that us as a people, the Africans, a lot of blood has been shed over our heads. I told you my own story. We had lost 11 generations. We don't have a single family members from those because our people fought. So if our people fought, it's because they knew we worth it. They knew we worth fighting. They knew we worth fighting for. They knew we were worth going through that war against guns with their bare hands. So I want everybody to remember that while you're out there backstabbing your own, blackmailing your own, raping your own, setting your own in fire, many of our forefathers lost their lives protecting us. And we can sit and mumble, oh, what did they do wrong? What did they do? We now know everything. So our job is to pick up the ball where they drop it and carry on. For there's a prophecy, a promise God made to our people. Should we align as one, He will heal us and raise us again. We won't worry about anybody invading us. Invasion takes place Invasions take place when they found cracks in the wall. Now we know the many cracks we have in our walls. It's time to fix the cracks and secure our fortress, which is Africa. And we can't secure Africa if the Africans are broken. So it's important that when we embark in that journey, the people who need to stand on their brother's shoulder to achieve something, make sure while you're standing on your brother's shoulder, make sure you're grateful. Tell him, brother, thank you for lending me your legs. For now, I can see what is ahead of me. Brother, thank you for feeding me today. We have to change your whole culture, whole mentality. Some people, you send them money home, instead of thanking you, thanking the ancestors and ask them to bless you for when they bless you, they are blessed. No, they're going to be there. That's all she can send. Blah, 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 blah. And from there, they start cursing you.
Absolute. Too much on gratitude.
Too much.
Yes.
Too much.
True.
So when you come around people who are like that, be that royal. Start them. Say, hey, that division has led us to nowhere. Now you're finding so much to say about your brother because he started doing this, but how is he stopping you from doing yours too? We need to protect our own. Even publicly. Somebody you don't agree with, like the Black Lives Matter. The founder of the Black Lives Matter, it's one of our daughters, her name is Patrice. She started a movement. The roaring voice of our ancestors spoke through that key. And the whole world caught wings of what was happening here. Now, when it came to Monio, our very own people were out there criticizing her the same way. The white supremacists who wanted to label that organization as a terrorist organization. Whatever they were saying about her, many of our kids got there publicly. Money has never been our people's God. Never.
Yes.
So never let money tear us apart. We are royal and abundantly anything we touch, when we align with the principle of one, anything any of us will touch will flourish.
Yes.
We are not all kings. Sometimes your blessing is attached to a person. You need to work under that person for your blessing to even be released to you. So when you go burning people, God and the ancestors put on your path, what do you expect? You see? So that's what the Wearing Our Crown series will be about. And we will start streaming every morning at 10 Central Standard Time, starting November 1st.
Thank you so much. You've all heard that. We're going to share this message, and when we get the flyers or any information, we're going to communicate it. We want to go get all our crowns. And the Queen is here, the Queen of Heart of her daughters, and the Nubian, and her sons, and the kings. So this is our time. We have to stop complaining. Go and get your crown. But before you get that crown, you have some rite of passations and some things that you will need to fulfill. If you're up to that, then you get it. So I want to thank you so much. Thank you.
And we will be acknowledging the real queens.
Yes.
We will be acknowledging. I personally will crown them. Queen. I'm like, wear that crown. Carry on. And teach our daughters. Make mini queens from there. Carry on, my son. And teach our sons. Be that Monkosi. That's the word I use to refer to king. Right?
Yes.
Because our forefathers were Monkosis. Monkosis are kings like no other.
Yes.
Monkosi were fathers. before anything. Fathers of a nation, they were fair, they were loving. When a matter goes before them, they will apply divine justice, not politics. Our fathers were not politicians. They were mandated by God to do the right thing, to protect and lead their people. So anybody who want to be called Monkosi and crown a Monkosi need to get to work. When a young girl comes around you because she's in distress, you, as if you consider yourself a Black king, it should not be an opportunity for you to take advantage of her distress.
Oh, yes.
She doesn't have to lose her pride. When you cause us to lose our pride, you causing yourself to have to lose yours. One way, somewhere down the line, because you came from us. So we'll get everybody, we'll get everybody on point. At least a good majority when we start. I'm confident.
Oh, we already have. It doesn't matter. We're not even looking for that crowd. We're looking for quality. All of us.
Quality.
All of us are quality. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, my queen. So yes, we see ourselves again on Wednesday, you said, and I think on the first of all of us, we have to be at your platform. We also will be launching the Africa we want, but at our own usual time. So I don't see any coalition in the time. So we wish you all the best out there, and you've heard it, and we're going to continue to spread that message. You know, the queen is here. You asked, and your ancestors have sent you your daughter and your queen. Okay. Thank you so much, Queen Mother, Queen Daughter. And keep up the beautiful smile. And as you say, you're just a symbol of everything: beauty, intelligence, knowledge, wisdom, power, energy, everything. Everything.
Thank you.
Yes,
I'm honored.
And
just peace in your homes. You can connect with our ancestors and our creator if you live in an environment where there's no peace. Okay? Make sure you bring peace in your homes. People who don't want to live at peace, you hearing this from your queen, get rid of them. This journey, it gets lonely, because when you have to let people go because they want to block your purpose, many of us, our purpose is not to lead our people down in the ditch. Whether your father, your mother, you're going to have to answer for it. Trust and believe. So anybody rejecting the idea of peace because they want to maintain, get rid of them. Embarking this journey. We have to honor our fallen ones. We have to honor our ancestors. We have to let them know they didn't die in vain.
Wow. Power. This is power. Thank you so much. Thank you, my queen. Okay, Naisha is sounding the bell that is already to, yes, and it will be dropping out on YouTube. Thank you so very much, every one of us that have made it. I don't even know what I'm going to get my technicians here if they're already sleeping. You boys are sleeping then. I don't even know how we're going to close the studio today because they have another school day tomorrow. I want to thank all of you that have spent this quality time. Naisha, thank you so much. I know you have classes tomorrow, and and all of us that have gathered, we're going to see ourselves again. Tomorrow, watch out for the program that will be coming up, and I wish you all a blessed evenings and peace. As we say, be with all of us, and we see ourselves tomorrow. Good night. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye, my queen.
Bye.
Bye. You are watching the Pan-African Daily TV with Dr. Susan Tatah. The Africa we want. Unity, consciousness, our culture, our spirituality, our history. One Africa for Africans worldwide. Motherland's calling its diaspora home. Join my voice. Join my team. Join my campaign. Campaign 21 hashtag 1 million subscribers on the Pan African Daily TV YouTube. Be a volunteer. Apply now. Be the new Africa.